All right. Good morning, Sandra. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Thanks. Very well. And yourself?
I am doing fantastic. So I've got your resume here in front of me. And to be completely honest, I've been looking forward to chatting with you all week. As soon as I saw your resume, I got very excited about your background and experience. You are currently working as the office manager for another local plastic surgeon. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your current role and what you're doing right now?
Okay. Well, to kind of start off, I am currently not with HC Plastic Surgery. We decided to part ways.
Okay.
I have sent you the reference letter from that practice. The main reason we decided to part ways is I am looking for more of a work-life balance. And so basically to kind of go back off on what I did there is oversee the schedule, oversee the team, motivate the team, get them excited about the days coming up, making them aware via, I'm a high communicator.
Cool.
I think that's really important in being in any office manager position is having an open door policy and communing with the team on different things that are going on. It makes them feel more part of the practice. And then it's also a great time to open conversation about any issues.
Wonderful. Now, Sandra, how many folks were on your team at that practice?
Great question. So when I first started with the practice in 2017, it was myself, the esthetician, and then front desk, and then of course the doctor. That was it. And now currently, right now, they're a staff of 20.
Wow.
Yes, growing very rapidly. They just brought on 2 other plastic surgeons. They're building a much larger facility. So it's a very flourishing company and a great company to work for. Unfortunately, I am a very dedicated individual to the companies that I work for. I was putting in a lot of hours. And also the commute was a little bit far for me. It was taking me about an hour, hour and a half each way. So I was spending about 10 to 12 hours a week in the car. And so that's where the work-life balance comes in.
Understood. Okay, great. Now, so as you were ramping up that team over the last 4 years, were you the one that was involved in, so let's say, all right, it's time to hire another scheduler, biller, whatever the case may be. Were you the one involved in posting the job, doing the interviewing, doing the hiring, doing the onboarding, or was that duty put onto someone else at the office?
I did all of that. With that company, there is the surgeon himself, and then of course there's also a CEO. And so I worked very closely with the CEO. He became more involved in the business as the business grew bigger and larger and larger. So yes, I was involved with determining what positions needed to be filled as the business grew, putting the postings out there, screening, interviewing, and then sometimes even training. Because besides anything clinical, I was able to do any of the positions in there, which makes a tremendous difference on being able to know the personality that you need for different positions in that field, what works and what doesn't. And so it kind of helps knowing the actual position when you're hiring.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, Sandra, let's talk a little bit about processes and procedures at the office. So, obviously in the management seat, things are always changing. So how do you feel about being in a situation where maybe you identify a process that maybe could be tweaked or developed a little bit more to be more beneficial to practice? How would you go about determining that and then implementing it for your team?
If it was something that was medical, I would go over with the clinical staff on how we can always enhance what the procedure is to make it a better outcome for the patient, and of course the team themselves, if it's patient flow or whatever the case may be that needs to be enhanced, or customer service. So yes, I would definitely be an advocate and was for any procedures that needed to be tweaked a little bit to be sure that we always provided the most outstanding service for the patients.
Beautiful. Now let's talk a little bit about the revenue cycle management for the office. What was your involvement in that process? Were you involved in budgeting? Were you involved in ordering of supplies? Were you involved in the AP and the AR? What did that look like at your office?
Yes, I did all of that. I was in charge of accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, any HR. And then, of course, in reference to revenue, I worked closely, and of course, all the supplies, medical, and then also office supplies. Right. Eventually, the medical got delegated out, as we grew larger and larger, but still oversaw all of that, even equipment. trying to find out what was the best equipment, best prices, warranties, things like that, to be sure that we were making the best investment possible. With any other revenue, yes, I worked very closely with the CEO on making sure that we were spending our funds wisely, and being sure that we had a great profit in the end.
Wonderful. I love it. Now, Sandra, with this particular practice, they are looking someone that is open to some community involvement, whether it be through professional affiliations or, networking opportunities. How do you feel about a situation like that?
It's funny you brought that up, because I was a very big advocate with that, with HC plastic surgery. Right off the bat, I planned events. We did the Southern Women's Show every single year, where we did Botox injections. We also did community events, just so that the individuals would know who the company was, and then also to be sure that we always remained a very professional vision to those out there, because obviously what we're selling is looks. We want to be sure that we represent ourselves in a very professional manner. Also worked with the surgeon on different networking events that I did privately with some of the staff, and then also promoted him to go out and meet with other individuals in, like, say, the Dr. Phillips area community meetings, networking that would be for his level, to kind of make individuals aware of what we did in that particular community.
All right. Beautiful. Sandra, what is the most important thing to you about the next company that you work for?
I would say looking for, obviously, growth, stability. And I also, I'm a big advocate of, just respectfulness. I always make sure that I'm respectful to my peers, management, to be sure that it goes vice versa.
All right. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and chat with you a little bit more off camera, if that sounds good to you.
Perfect.